Hello, welcome to another episode of It's Tea Time. I'm your host, Jonathan Sellers, and filling in for John Hartwell this week is Sandy Atkins, who's the Senior Associate Athletic Director for the Troy University Athletics. And
it's a mouthful.
I know tomorrow is an exciting day for Trojan fans, and especially for y'all when the fax machines are buzzing and all those letters of intent will be coming in for the football team as well as a couple other teams. So I know there's just a lot of buzz in the air over on y'all's side.
Yeah, there really is. From two sports, football and soccer will be signing tomorrow. Okay. Those guys for the past month, we haven't seen them in the office. They've been out on the road recruiting, and they've had a shorter window than normal being a new staff.
Right.
But we're really looking forward to some exciting things tomorrow. Feel like we've got a really good class penciled in. And so we're excited about it.
Yeah, I know we can't talk specifically about individual student athletes, but it does, from what we've seen on the internet and things like that, it seems like there's a lot of good athletes and a lot of depth, and that's something I know the coach is really looking to do.
Right. From day one, when Coach Brown first got here, he certainly evaluated, where we were and then started targeting specific areas to get that depth. And we, like I said, we feel really good about what's going to happen tomorrow. We do have a signing party that starts tomorrow at 5:30. From 5:30 to 7:30 for football. We have been putting that out. We've got over 250 RSVPs for that. So we're going to have some, video, and at that time we'll be able to talk about the student athletes that have signed, and so we're excited about that, and just like you said, a lot of excitement around the program.
And it's not just football, as you said. Soccer is also looking forward to tomorrow, and they look to have a pretty good class coming in as well. Yeah,
they do. They actually, we're looking at signing a very large class. We're targeting, more than a dozen student athletes to come into the soccer program, which really says a lot, because we had a great year in soccer this past year, and we are returning 9 starters from that team. So, Coach Hamilton felt very strongly about trying to get a large class. Depth is so important in soccer because the amount of time that they spent with their legs running. But we're really excited about that as well. So looking for a big class out of soccer to give us some depth to. Hopefully be competing for conference championships in soccer again.
Hopefully for the next few years.
Oh, yeah.
And I know while it's recruiting season, we have several teams that are in season or about to begin their seasons, and both basketball teams the men are coming off a big win with a few free throws at the very end. Women, a tough loss, but it was a game they were in even though they didn't shoot well, and they've got a couple of big conference games ahead this weekend.
Right. I mean, almost the reverse. The men have just lost so many close games this year. They've been in every game. And they've beaten the number 1 team in the league in Georgia Southern. So, they've been right there. So it was good to see the men pull that out. The women played great. And the women have won those close games this year. So I think there was 9 or 10 games left. So plenty of time still left in the season to make a run. We go on the road for the next 2 games, and then we'll be at home for a couple weeks. So we're looking forward to that.
Now the Sunbelt Conference tournament will be in New Orleans again this year, and is it the tournament where everybody makes it, or will just the top 8 teams make it?
It's a good question. It has fluctuated from year to year. This year is the top 8. Okay. So you do have to be in the top 8 to make that tournament. It starts March the 10th in New Orleans. Okay. So we actually still are selling tickets for that tournament right now. So March 10th through the 15th is that week, and they'll be taking the top 8. Okay.
And I know softball, they're starting their season this week, and that's an exciting time for them under the direction of a new coach. And I know you're very familiar with the softball program. I just saw a picture recently of your name at the top of the record book. So I think Coach Mullins sent that out.
Yeah, so. Coach, she was tweeting at me a little bit. But no, we're really excited about softball and Coach Mullins and all the excitement that's coming in the softball team. Right. We had Fan Day for baseball and softball this past Saturday, and we had a couple of hundred people attend that. So, we start Thursday night against Auburn in Auburn, and then Friday we start. We have a tournament here. Our first game's at 7:30 Friday night. Okay. So a lot of excitement. I don't. If you've had the opportunity to talk to Coach Mullins, but she brings forth a lot of excitement and a lot of fun, and you can almost feel that off the student athletes. bouncing off of her, and we are really excited about what's coming forward in the softball program. We've always had a really good attended softball program. People come to watch the game because it is entertaining, and you can really feel the excitement building in that program, and we're really excited about that.
Well, and last year was the first year in that new facility, and I know she was able to recruit to that this year, and a lot of excitement. And with the first three, or they play at Auburn on Thursday, but the tournament this weekend, a good chance for fans to go out and see what this new program is going to be all about.
Absolutely. And last year really didn't give us justice because yes, we did play in there, but the team didn't have the opportunity to practice in there for the full year.
Right.
So having had that opportunity to be in there for a full year, get familiar with the ins and outs and how that runs, and then just having the opportunity for fans. It's a great venue. I think the weather's supposed to hopefully warm up a little bit this weekend. Nice. So, it's just stop by. It's free and come out and watch. And
just one more question about the softball team. I know that they've got a senior leader in J.C. Affeld on the mound, and you always want to start there, and that's a good place to have a senior is on the mound, and she's a good one.
Oh, no question. In fact, in my opinion, it may be biased, but we are returning the top pitching duo in the Sun Belt, and J.C. Affeld and Ashley Rainey.
Right.
Ashley, J.C. being a senior has got many years under her belt, and Ashley's finally, she's been injured for some time,
right.
So finally has shaken the injury bug. So that duo, I'll give them credit. I understand in the scrimmage that they had the other day, the pitching got the better of the hitter. So, which pitching is good on the
right.
one end, but we got to have the hitting as well, and I know that'll come around. But we really, with those two, are experienced in that area.
And just across campus, the baseball team, they won't be starting this weekend, but they'll be starting the following weekend with, I believe, 4 games at home with a couple of teams in. So that'll be an exciting time, especially, I know, exciting, but also bittersweet as it's going to be the start of the final season for
right.
Coach Pierce.
Yeah, on the one hand, you got, Coach Mullins in softball starting, and then the last season for Coach Pierce, who's, he's been tremendous for Troy baseball, right. and has become the face of Troy baseball, being here 12 years. This is his last year. Obviously, he's a very humble man, and but we certainly, he has many accolades. And one great thing that he felt important, we felt important to be able to go ahead and make that transition, and who better to take over for him. We've already made that announcement,
right.
that Mark Smart, who is Troy baseball.
Right.
So it's it's going to be a good transition.
Yeah, it should be pretty seamless just with those two guys and the way they work, and with just the way that program has worked over the past several years. So.
Yep.
That's exciting to see, and as always, just like with the softball team, that facility over at the baseball, it's a great atmosphere always
yep.
at the baseball games. Whether you're in the stands or out in left field, I mean, it's always a good place to watch a game.
Yeah, we've got a couple of things, a couple of promotions coming up as well. But on February the 28th, we're having a Hits for Heroes game,
okay.
So it'll be a military-focused game. We'll be able to get in free. And we'll have a whole lot of military that we'll be honoring during that game.
Okay.
So that's a real big game we've been focusing on. That's February the 28th.
All right, and I know a couple of other teams are getting in the swing of things. Tennis as well. I know golf is coming up. Track and field. They're all getting started.
Somebody said, are you guys busy right now? It's February, but this is our busy
right.
time. Golf is getting in the full swing of things. Tennis, they open up at home this weekend. They've both men and women have already been on the road and won some matches. Our track and field teams have been out competing.
Right.
So we've got the winter sports that are finishing up, but the spring sports that are taking off. So we're getting into the thick of things right now.
And just one thing to mention about golf: if you've been driving down Elm Street in the corner of George Wallace, you see some construction going out there, and that's their new practice facility, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a new clubhouse
right.
for golf. The putting the arena, building the arena where we were able to make a practice facility
right.
for golf, which is the best in the Sun Belt. And if you have been around that corner, you've seen the teams out there practicing. So we're going to have a clubhouse there where they'll be able to have some hitting bays so they can be able to use that during inclement weather, as well as a locker room for those guys and coaches' offices as well.
And something well deserved, and just a great asset, another great asset to this athletic program.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, and
Sure thing.
hopefully a lot of things to look forward to coming up. So.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned for more coming up on It's Tea Time. And welcome back to It's Tea Time. And our guest to talk about men's basketball is the Director of Operations for the men's basketball team, and that's Mike Worley. And Mike, y'all had an exciting win the other day, a big win over Texas Arlington on the road. I know Coach Cunningham always says you like to sneak a few wins out on the road, and that was a big one. It was kind of different than your recent losses where y'all had a halftime lead and then kind of struggled in the second half. This time you had a deficit in the first half, but came back with a great second half and were able to pull out the victory.
Yes, that was a different script, so to speak. But it's hard to win on the road, and to win at Texas Arlington was big. I think we just kept chipping away at their lead throughout the game, and it felt like one of those games where, at halftime we had a deficit, but then we started to play a little better through the 16-minute mark and a little better through the 12, and then at the 8 mark we were closer, and then finally at the end we were able to get 2 free throws, and wow, we're ahead, with 1 shot left.
Well, and it looked like the game was kind of won at the line because you had a lot of free throws. You shot 25, made 20 of them, which is good.
Yes.
So you've got to be happy with your team shooting at the line.
We, in the stretch you're talking about where we had basically, in the skid where we had lost 4, we had led in all those games.
Right.
But free throws had been a Achilles heel of what we had been doing. And like you mentioned, Jonathan, if you can't make free throws consistently, as close as these Sun Belt games are, it's tough to win. So John Walton shot free throws real well. Right. Kelton Ford has had trouble at the line, but he really alleviated those problems at Texas Arlington and hit 2 huge free throws with less than 2 seconds left to put us ahead. So we feel like that's a momentum boost too. He's got to have a lot of confidence from that. But we shot free throws well, and when you shoot free throws well in a tight game, you're going to have a chance to win.
And it looked like, I know y'all have been kind of struggling recently with depth just because of how many games y'all had played in such a short amount of time and guys getting tired. Right. But John Walton really stepped up the other day.
He did. John played real well, and he's a kid that has experience because he was at East Tennessee State, and he has played within himself and really, I think, fit the mold and the role of what Coach Cunningham wants him to do. Been real teachable, real coachable. Through the skid we had there for a little while, everybody was on board, had no issues personnel-wise or attitude-wise. Right. So it paid off on the road at Texas Arlington, and now it's really got to pay off with this kind of schedule they've put us in.
Well, and let's go ahead and talk about that schedule. I mean, it is a brutal one. Y'all are going to go to Arkansas State on Thursday,
right? Then
travel to Appalachian State on Saturday.
Correct.
That is a long bus ride. Just talk about just the operations part of that. What your role has been in organizing that trip?
Well, we orchestrate, every charter bus, every minute of the trip, every meal, every hotel room has to be signed off on. It's so you can imagine.
Right.
It's a lot of work, and with 11 teams in the Sun Belt Conference instead of 12, you can't really go. The way the league did it, you can't go to Jonesboro, play on a Thursday, and then go to Little Rock, whom we've already played over there, and play on a Saturday. So they employed or contracted with an outside source to determine the schedule. And when you really look at it, we didn't really get the best shake out of that deal. And as you alluded to, Jonathan, I mean, if you're going to go to Jonesboro on Thursday, we have to drive to Boone, North Carolina on by Saturday. And really, it's a 7:30 tip on Thursday, and it's a 3:30 Eastern tip on Saturday. So you're really not even getting 48 hours total in the turnaround. But all that said, it's not an excuse at all. We're going to go and try to play well. And we played so well at Texas Arlington, the momentum and the energy should help us on that trip.
And what do you know about Arkansas State? It's a team you've already seen this year, a game that you were in, lost at the end. But what do you know about that team?
That team has had a lot of peaks and valleys. Here they played pretty well, but then they've had some games where they've been totally out of the game.
Right.
So they've got a very experienced coach in John Brady, who a lot of your folks will understand, was in the SEC with LSU for a number of years. He was at Samford as well. So he's a good coach, and they'll play better at home than they play on the road typically. So we'll have a challenge, and then Appalachian State is new in the conference, have a great arena and a big student body. They've got a lot of students at Appalachian State, so don't know if they'll turn out Saturday or not. The weather could be a factor. When it snows there, it's hard getting in and out of North Carolina. So It's a new experience for us. We've never been in the arena, but we'll try to go up there and play well.
Well, and just one more question about just the travel. I know you have that day in between. What will your team's plans be that day to kind of get some rest and recovery? Will y'all have a practice that day, or will you get them out on the court some?
No, yeah, we will have a practice. We'll drive halfway after the game at Jonesboro, outside Nashville. We'll stay and sleep for just 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll get up and try to make it into Boone where we can practice that night.
Okay.
That way we can get on the floor and get familiar with the surroundings of that arena.
Okay.
And work through some plays and some things we'd like to do Saturday, and then hopefully get them to bed maybe an hour earlier than normal because we play earlier.
Right.
Get up, have a pregame meal, which would probably be more like a brunch, and then play, and then drive home.
All right. Well, I know it's a tough schedule, but hopefully you can pull out 2 big wins on the road and come back with those 2 big wins.
That would be great.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
All right. And stay tuned for more coming up on It's Tea Time. And we're back on It's Tea Time, and we're here to talk about the women's basketball team, here with the head coach of the Trojans, and that's Coach Chanda Rigby. And coming off a tough loss on Saturday, but a big win on last Thursday against Louisiana Monroe, and it was almost a record-breaking win. You tied the record for most turnovers in a game and almost won by the largest deficit in Sunbelt history.
Yes.
So talk about the performance against
I'm glad you started with that. We're starting on a good note because that was a great game here in Trojan Arena against ULM Monroe. We had beat them at their place, but barely. They led us the entire game at their place. And here we changed our strategy up. We started with a full court press. We didn't do anything safe. We were out in passing lanes, and we wanted to force, our goal was to force 17 turnovers at halftime. And just to cause a lot of turnovers and score in an easy way. And it just exploded. We just kept feeding off of it, got turnover after turnover. Before you know it, we were in the way of breaking a record for the most turnovers.
But it almost seemed like kind of your defensive energy was spilling over into the offensive side. Is that the way it turned out?
No doubt. We ran very, very little offense because, we just kept pressing, being in pass lanes, getting a steal and running the floor, which is what we like to do. We scored 90 points in the game, and everybody got to play, and everybody at the 8-minute mark, all the starters were out, so everybody got to play. We got valuable minutes for some of our underclassmen.
And did it just seem like it took Monroe just completely out of their game?
Definitely. I mean, it really it seemed to break them. That they couldn't get the ball to the court, they couldn't get in their offense. And it was because that's what we work for. We work for that defense and pressuring and running. So it was nice to see it pay off in a game for our ladies.
All right, and then on Saturday at UT Arlington, a tough ball game. Your team did not shoot well in the game, but you were still in it at the end, still with a chance to win. So, I mean, despite losing the game, your team battled through.
Right. It was just it was an amazing game. We forced a lot of turnovers in the first half of that game. I think we had 10 times that we could have scored on numbers, but we missed the opportunity. And that's not like us at all. We shot, I think, 17% in the first half. None of those things are characteristic of us. We hope that was a one and only time deal. But to have played that poorly, and we were missing 2 starters in that game. 2 starters were out with injury. To be on the road, to play that poorly and play that good of a team and still be in at the end, we just hope that was a one-time thing, and we hope we're still building and getting better because we can still push for a conference championship.
Right. Well, and speaking of that, you're going to have a tough test this week as you hit the road and face Arkansas State and then Appalachian State. We just talked to Mike Worley about that brutal schedule. But Arkansas State, that's going to be a tough contest. They just came off a win over Arkansas Little Rock.
Right. So they beat the number 1 team in the league, and they beat us here at our place. It was a close game. We were in it all the way till the end. But they're a tough team. They're the number 1 defensive team in the league. We're the number 1 offensive team in the league. So being on the road, it should be a great game. I think a lot of things need to go right for us to win, but it's got to start with our energy and our positive mindset.
And then you go to Appalachian State and another team you played. What is your strategy in that one going to be?
Well, the strategy is just getting them over there on time to play and rested because, we leave Arkansas State Thursday night, and we drive halfway through the night, get a few hours sleep, and get up and drive the other half the next day, play at noon or at 1 o'clock on the next day. So the strategy is to try to get a game plan in for them after we finish, hopefully, a great win at Arkansas State, just to get them refocused on a totally different type of team and get them rested enough to be able to go execute our game plan.
I mean, and do you have any strategy for resting and recovering for that Saturday game?
Well, when we've had this quick of a turnaround at home, we do ice baths. I train them in ice baths, and we give them extra protein shakes, and we just try to keep as many distractions away as possible. But on this road trip, we're grasping for ideas, and we're just going to try whatever we can. Keep it calm on the bus, try to turn the lights out, try to let them get as much rest as possible as we travel.
All right, Coach. Well, I know it's a tough test, but hopefully you can pull out 2 big wins.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
All right. And stay tuned for more coming up on It's Tea Time. And welcome back to It's Tea Time, and we're going to talk about the men's tennis program with Coach Scott Kidd, who has been busy so far this year in 2015 with several matches already under their belt. And Coach Kidd, thank you for joining us here. And
thank you for having us.
As I said, y'all have already competed a lot. You've been down to Florida, faced Florida State with a win over Florida A&M, and several matches in Georgia as well. And so it's been a busy time for y'all. Just to kind of recap the start of the season for us.
It's been busy. We've been on the road, of course, first 3 weeks. We opened up with Florida, had a great match, had a chance. You know, we lost a match. We were 13th in the nation, had match points at number 6 singles to make it a 4-3, and actually was playing without one of our top 6 players. So that match we just came out like we had nothing to lose. The guys played exceptionally well. On the other side in the singles, we had our number 1 Gabriel and Hassan, our number 2, to upset nationally ranked players, which is huge for them. Hopefully, you know, we're looking for them to be ranked some point of the season. And then, of course, the next match we played FAMU. We revenged the loss from last year with them. And then again, a tough match with Florida State. It's tough playing 3 matches in 2 days, but you know the guys are doing well. And then the next weekend, we fly to Texas. We play SMU. And losing them in a hard-fought match, a lot of 3-setters in the singles, and you know, with a big win over Abilene Christian. And then the big one came on Sunday, beating UT Arlington, which we had lost to twice last year. So that gave the guys confidence. And then this past weekend was a huge win for us. Having to beat Georgia State was a big confidence winner for the guys. So we're at a good place right now. So we got a lot of work to do, a young team. Some of them are still dealing with some nerves and stuff in the court. But, yeah, I think we're at a great place, and we're getting better every match.
And that's what's really important because it is a long, drawn-out season. Y'all play, is your first home match this week against Southern Miss?
It is. We play Southern Miss Saturday at 10 o'clock here. We're hoping we'll have good weather. Expecting a big crowd out support us. So it's a big match. You know, we lost to them last year, and you know they've been a tough team in the past for Troy in the history of playing. But I think that with this young team, energetic, with a couple new players to line up, I think we're at a great place. And I think it's looking good for Saturday for us.
And then you go on the road again to face another SEC foe in Ole Miss.
Yes, match was originally scheduled for Sunday, but it's been moved to Monday. We'll be playing Ole Miss in Oxford. So again, they start out at number 30 in the country, and then they're probably back in the top 16, having upset Florida, a couple of teams. And typically Ole Miss is a top 10 team, and we're just excited to play teams like this. I think it helps us, gives us opportunities not only as a team but as individual singles and doubles to beat some ranked players and ranked doubles teams.
So for right now, are y'all still kind of figuring out your 1 through 6, or is it set, or will you be working on that all throughout the season?
I think pretty much. I think we're pretty set at 1 and 2. You know, we're still switching, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with the players, trying to find the most comfortable position for them. You know, Giovanni is set at 5, and that's a great position, and he's pretty much winning for us. But, we've got 3 other players trying to figure out. Doubles, we've won the last 2 doubles points, but still, I think that's the area we really got to work on is improving our doubles. Against better teams, we're struggling there. But, as I said, we only can get better. So, and we continue working on our fitness as a team. So, it's the thing. And the schedule to me only gets more intense. We host a tournament here in 2 weeks. Okay. We'll be in Daytona playing three tough matches. So, it's no rest for us, that's for sure.
And you mentioned you have a young team, and with such a long season, how do you prepare them mentally and physically just for that long stretch of matches?
Well, I think there's no way to prepare them. I think you just, these young guys, because they don't know what to expect.
Right.
We have a couple veterans back. I think it's great just to throw them out because some of them don't have the experience, but we're just putting them out there, putting them on the court, and they're playing. And I'm kind of happy we're having so many matches because it does give them a lot of experience quick in the season to prepare us for when we really do start playing a lot more conference matches. So, I think playing so much, it allows us to come back to our practices, during the week and really work more on things because having seen a lot more match play allows us as a coaching staff to kind of see what areas we need to work on to improve on.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us and good luck on these upcoming matches.
Thank you so much.
All right, and join us again next week for more on It's Tea Time.